No, it don't! No, it don't!
Alright, let's get crack-lacking. So today, I'm going to show you how to solve algebraically. For example, solving rationals. There's two ways to solve a rational. Now, the first method I don't like a lot because it's too much guessing and requires technology. If I give you an example, x plus 6 over x plus 2 equals to y. Okay? Standard exam question. And you notice now, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to say, find x-intercept. You're going to do this using a graphing calculator. Graphing calculator. So grab your graphing calculator out, and I will walk you through how to do this slowly. Okay? So we're going to find the x-intercept. You can find the y-intercept also using a graphing calculator, but all I'm going to focus on is the x-intercept. So let's grab your graphing calculator out. First question a lot of students ask is, what is my Windows range? My answer to that is, I don't know. I kid you not, I don't even know what the Windows range. Every question is different. I personally like to put it at -10 and +10 for X-Min. Question, Devesh? No. Well, on the exam, I'm going to tell you which way you have to solve it. There's going to be both methods. Because some people like to solve it visually. I will show you, don't worry. Y-min, I like to set at -10. Y-max, I like to set as 10. Under y equals, here's what we're going to do. I want you to plug in this formula right now. Make sure you have brackets set correctly. Because a lot of people screw up because they don't use brackets. I go x plus. Here's where I like to use brackets. Okay? I go brackets. Some people don't need brackets. Every calculator is different. 6 divided by. Now I'm going to make sure I use brackets in the bottom part because I don't want anything to screw up. X plus 2 bracket, and I end bracket. I'm going to pause it, take a look up here, and see what exactly what I have. Now hit graph. Oh. So the question is, where is the x-intercept? I'm going to pause it. So if I look at my graph, now first of all, I'm going to ask you to highlight a few key things. Let's draw a rough sketch right now of what you have. So I'm going to draw a rough sketch. So draw a rough sketch of what you have on the TI-83. Okay. So here's my rough sketch. Voila. That's my rough sketch right there. That's what exactly I have. Now, there's 3 lines. I'm going to highlight a few key things. I'm going to show you what each line represents. I'm going to start with the blue lines right here. These blue curves are actually your actual equation. That's the actual graph right there. But there's this vertical line that's shown right here. That's your vertical asymptote. That's not the graph. That's your vertical asymptotes. So if I were to look at this visually, okay, Vicky, where does the blue line cross the x-axis? Yep. Where does it cross the x-axis? It never. Because if I look at this visually, I realize there's one thing. There's no x-intercept. Because it never touches this. Okay? I'm going to give you a question now. I'm going to modify this so there will be an x-intercept. Let's try this one. X plus 6 over x plus 2 minus, now be careful, I'm going to add in minus 5. And I want to set this equal to 0 because I want to know what the x-intercept is going to be. Again, I'm going to ask you to use your TI-83 and we're going to graph it. I'm going to pause it. So I'm going to punch this in my calculator. I'm going to modify this question. And I know at the end it's going to be minus 5. I hit graph. And if you look at this right now, I see two x-intercepts. The question is, what are the exact coordinates of these x-intercepts? So I want you to practice using your calculator and find the exact coordinates. And if you remember a long time ago, I taught you how to find the intercept. Okay. Patricia, do you remember what you do? How do you find the zeros? Second function trace? Yep. Oh, look at that. There's 0. You go to 0. Right off the bat, it's going to ask you something called left bound. There's 2 points. So I'm going to find this point right here by moving this cursor just to the left of it. Okay. I move just to the left. I hit enter. Now I was going to say move to the right. Hit enter. And it says hit enter one more time, and it will give you x equals to -1. Okay. Very nice. I want you to do the exact same thing to find this one right now. Okay, there's actually 2 of them. X equals to 4 is correct. So these are my x-intercepts. Okay, very simple, nothing too bad. This is how I solve graphically. Now the question is, solve algebraically. Next question, part B. How to solve algebraically. Because on the exam, if you want to know if you did this right, you can actually just graph it and find it on your own. Algebraically. How hard is this exam? Honestly, I have no idea. I didn't teach it, so I have no idea. So now, before I start, I'm going to copy this down equation. X plus 6 over x plus 2 minus 5. Algebraically means I better not use any graph. It has to be pure math work. Now, in order for you to do this, it goes back to something you learned in grade 8. I want you to solve. This is just backtrack. Okay. In grade 8, if I give you a question like this, x over 2 equals to 5 over 2. Okay, very simple question. Jordan, what is the value of x going to be? 5. Because why? If my denominators are the same, see? My numerator has to be the same. Or another way people like to do, see, if denominators are the same, I can cross out the denominators. So x equals to 5. Another way some people like to do is they multiply the whole equation by 2 to get rid of the denominator. No matter what you do, you always get 5. Working back to here now. X, I'm going to give you a hint. This is x over 1 plus 6 over x plus 2 minus 5. I'll give you a hint. This is equal to 1. Find the lowest common denominator right now and work with the lowest common denominator. Okay? So this is a bit of grade 11 material. Jessica, what's the lowest common denominator? So your LCD is x plus 2. That's my LCD. What you're going to do now is, I'll let you figure out what on your own. I'm going to pause it. So I walked around and I noticed a lot of you are actually getting this correct. I'm going to convert everything to the same LCD. So I'm going to multiply this by x plus 2. Okay. I'm going to multiply top by x plus 2. I'm going to multiply this by x plus 2. And what I get really is x squared plus 2x over x plus 2. Notice this one has this LCD already, so I don't do anything to it. The last fraction, again, I multiply this by x plus 2, which is negative 5x. I'm going to put a box here over x plus 2. Is it going to be minus or plus? For now, I'm going to make it plus. I'm going to show you why. Notice you have 3 different fractions. Rewrite everything as one big fraction. So again, I'm just playing a game of simplifying. So here's where the minus kicks in. X squared plus 2x plus 6 minus 5x. Now I'm going to put a box here. Over x plus 2 equals to 0. Okay. Pawan, what goes in this box? It's a negative 10. Be careful. I want you to highlight this negative right now. Because that negative changes this part. A lot of people forget about this and it screws up everything. Minus 10. Take a minute. I'm going to pause it and let you solve on your own. I'm going to simplify the top part. You should have x squared minus 3x minus 4 over x plus 2 equals to 0. I'm going to get rid of the denominator by bringing it to the other side. Keep it simple. And this becomes x plus 1, x minus 4, and notice it matches up exactly to graphically. That's called algebraic method.
Wait, so you just leave that x plus 2, or it cancels?
When you bring it over, it's gone. That, but I want you to write one thing, star. This is crucial. You must double check your answer with your restrictions. Okay? This is crucial. You got to double check. To find your restriction, go back to the original question. Right here. There's one thing x cannot be. X can't be negative 2. Because if x is equal to negative 2, you have undefined. Notice my answer doesn't equal to negative 2, so therefore both of these work. That is how we solve it. I'm going to give you one more question to practice, and then we'll give you a super no, and that's it for today. And then you're going to spend the whole time after lunch working on this. Solve this for me, please. You're going to do 2 methods, graphically and algebraically. Nope. X squared minus 3x minus 7 over 3 minus 2x equals to x minus 1. See, I want you to, it's going to say solve. You're going to do 2 methods. One, graphically, which means using a TI-83. And then 2, you're going to solve it algebraically, which means using math and manipulating things around. Algebraically. Sorry, what's going on? Get crack-lacking. I'm going to pause it. Let's see if you can figure this out. So if I compare this question with the previous question, in my previous question it was easy because it's equal to 0. In this question, it's not equal to 0. So what you got to do? Get 0. X squared minus 3x minus 7. 3 minus 2x. I want one side to be 0 to make my life easier, so I can use a 0 function on my calculator. So this is minus x plus 1, and notice now it equals to 0. Okay. Put this into your TI-83, and you got to be careful how you put this in. Okay. Notice the top part is kind of complicated, so I like to use brackets just to make sure that everything works out well. So this is x squared minus 3x. Yep. I'm going to put everything on top in a bracket, or else Ed may screw up if I don't. Minus 7, and I end bracket separately. Divide this by, again, I like to use brackets just to make sure I don't screw up. 3 minus 2x, end bracket. Okay. Minus x plus 1. Hit graph and cross your fingers. Okay, and that's what it looks like. if I look at this, I should have 2 points of intersect. One here, and then one here. This third line, remember, that's your vertical asymptote. Find these 2 points. You will get decimals. So find them for me. To 2 decimal places. Okay. So when I graph it out on my calculator, I have 2 x-intercepts. One is here, one is here. Use your 0 function and calculate it for me. So you go second, calculate, 0. Since I'm on this side, I must also start with this one. I go to the left of this line, I hit enter. I go to the right of this line, and I hit enter. I'm going to hit the guess. So right there is my first one. X equals to negative 0.43. Dead on. I want you to do it again on your own. I'm going to pause it, and I'll let you just try this on your own. 0.43. But there's one more. Okay. So if I do this correctly, your second one should be 3.10. That's solving graphically. It's very simple. But now, I'm going to ask you to solve it algebraically. Here comes the fun part. X squared minus 3x minus 7. 3 minus 2x minus x plus 1. To solve it algebraically, remember it's all about LCD, just like grade 8 style. Questions, man?
Can you times 3 minus 2x with
Everything?
x minus 1? Like, can't you just times it? Like,
And then add like terms.
and then, yeah, and then add like function after it?
Yeah. We are going to do that right now. Because what you have to do is, remember, you can't add these right away. Think of this if you want, think of it as x over 1, right? So what we're going to do now is multiply everything by 3 minus 2x. So here's where you got to be careful. Think of this as x plus 1 times 3 minus 2x over 3 minus 2x equals to 0. So I want you to go ahead and foil that foil the bracket for me. Okay, take a minute right now and just foil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to foil this out. My left fraction stays the same. It's only the right one I'm curious about. That's x squared minus 3x minus 7 minus, now I'm going to foil this out. Get you 3x minus 2x squared plus 3 minus 2x. 3 minus 2x. And I have 2 fractions with the same LCD. Go ahead and merge the 2 fractions together. I'm going to pause it. See, this minus sign changes everything. You have to be careful about that. So what you should get is x squared minus 3x minus 7 minus 3x plus 2x squared minus 3 plus 2x. All over, well, I'm going to bring 3 minus x. That equals to 0, because I'm going to bring it to the other side. Now, simplify. So that gives you 3x squared. That's minus 6x. That should be minus 4x. Minus 10 equals to 0. Oh, whoops, sorry, I made a boo-boo. Where did I make a boo-boo? So that should be negative 8x. Minus 4. There we go. Now, the issue lies, how do you solve this? You can't factor it. No, you can't factor this one. You got to use the quadratic formula. Use the quadratic formula right now and solve it on your own. The quadratic formula is negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Your grade 11 teacher should have asked you to memorize this by heart. Oh yeah, you should have memorized this. Every grade 11 student must memorize this formula by heart. Use the formula right now. On the exam, they expect you to use the formula. So remember, this here is your A value. This here is your B value. And finally, this here is your C value. Every grade 11 student must memorize this, and that's one key. So if your grade 11 teacher didn't ask you to memorize it, you're in trouble because you have to know the formula by heart. And did you ask to memorize it? You have to memorize it because grade 12, they expect you to know the formula. Use the formula right now. So this becomes positive 8. Positive 8, plus or minus 64. Minus 4 times 3 times negative 4. See, all I'm going to do is I'm just plugging in the formula. Oh, my pen is dying. All over 6. This becomes 8 plus or minus 112 over 6. So what you're going to do, you guys got to hear. If you want, you can convert this to decimal because my answer was in decimal. So we're going to convert, grab your calculator and go square root of 112. So it goes 112. And it gives you 10.58. So what really this becomes is 8 plus minus 10.58 over 6. You could leave it like that, but I want to know if it matches exactly to my previous one. My answer was negative 0.43. So let's do this. Grab your calculator. We're going to find out the exact value. So you go 8 minus 10.58 divided by 6. And let's see if it gives you negative 0.43. Okay?
Yeah.
And it does. If I do the positive form, I go 8 plus, that's what plus and minus represents, over, and that should give you exactly 3.10. Okay? That is the power of quadratics. I'm going to pause it. We'll continue after lunch with the super. So I looked through my work and I realized where I went wrong before. It's actually this part right here when I merge it together. So this is actually an error because I tried to do a shortcut, but apparently my shortcut failed. So technically, for here, what went wrong was this should be an x squared minus 3x minus 7 over 3 minus 2x. It's better if you treat it separately. I treat it as one whole thing, and that's where I screwed up. Minus x over 1 plus 1. When you treat it separately, it actually works. So what I did wrong was I merged the two together thinking I can take a shortcut, but it didn't work too well. So, but your answer should be exactly what we have for graphically. Treat it separately is easier. Okay, it avoids errors. But here is your super note question for today. Very simple. You're going to solve using algebra, meaning no graphing calculator is needed. Here is your question. X over 2x plus 5 plus 2x equals to 8x plus 15 all over 4x plus 10. Solve algebraically. I'm going to pause it and let the games begin. I'm going to solve it algebraically. I like to personally get everything to one side, equate it to 0. Now this is where preference differs. So I'm going to go x 2x plus 5 plus 2x. Now here's where it works. Negative 8x plus 15. Now, if I look at this bottom part, I notice I can factor out something. A 2 gives you 2x plus 5 equals to 0. Here comes the fun part. And I said everything is dependent on your LCD. If your LCD is wrong, the whole question is wrong. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who haven't asked today yet? Divya, what's your LCD? This whole thing is your LCD right here. That whole entire thing. If you said 2x plus 5 by itself, it's wrong. Question. 4x plus n is the same. It's, you did potato. I'm doing potato. Okay. So now, I notice I'm going to make everything the same LCD. So my LCD is 2 times 2x plus 5. I'm going to multiply this by 2. Okay. 2. Because I want to make sure it has the same. Now this becomes 2x plus 2x. This will be 4x plus 10 if you want to think about it. Now all of this is over my LCD. All over LCD. Minus, and if I look at this, well, this is already the same LCD, so I don't do anything to it. LCD. And that equals to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge everything together as one nice fraction. And I can get rid of LCD after that. So that becomes 2x plus 8x squared plus 20x. Here's where you got to be careful. Minus 8x minus 15. Hi, question. You could do whatever you like. So I got up to here. Okay. Now what I have to do is I actually have to solve it. So that becomes 8x squared plus 22 minus 8, that's 14x. And this is minus 15. I think that's what everyone has so far. Equals to 0. I'm going to pause it here. See this, I can factor. Because I realize that's 120. And so that'll be x plus 20, x minus 6. If you didn't, and be careful, you got to divide this by 8. If you're using Asian method. If you didn't do this method and you use quadratic formula, it works, but it's just more work in the end for you. So what you have here, okay. So give me 1 second, this becomes 10 over 4, that becomes 5 over 2. And this becomes minus 3 over 4. But now I'm going to move it forward. 2x plus 5. And this is 4x minus 3. So x equals to negative 5 over 2 and 3 over 4. That's what a group had, but I only give you one card because something is wrong with this. Danish, what's wrong with it? You didn't check for a reject. Because I remember the last thing I say is you always check for a reject. And to do that, we look at my denominator. X cannot equal to negative 5 over 2 from here. Okay? Then you have two. Then you got to make sure that it doesn't even match up to any of the rejects. It cannot hit any of the rejects. You have to use both of them. So this is a reject. Okay? Or there's a special terminology for this reject. It's called an extraneous root. Extraneous, you may need to know this term. Extraneous root. An extraneous root is the solution that you kind of reject out. So my only answer is 3 over 4. Any questions on how I did this? Going. What question was gonna? Okay. Your work. Page. That's it. 465. Numero. So on the exam, you should be able to do two methods, graphically and algebraically. Numero. Two. 3. Five. 6. Guys, gals, get crack-a-lackin'. Practice your methods because tomorrow you will have a quiz. I will ask you to do 2 ways, and I'll show you how we're going to do it on your exam. And that ends your lesson for today.